Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, Episode 3, The Road to Kaledan. The morning sun broke over the hills of Thessaly, gilding the dew-laced grasses in hues of gold. Birds stirred in their nests and traders pushed their carts through winding roads. As the world awoke, but for Hercules, son of Zeus, the day had begun long before dawn. He walked with the steady stride of a man who carried both gods and men on his shoulders. His lion-skin cloak flapped gently behind him, and his club, carved from an ancient olive tree, rested across his broad back. By his side trotted Iolaus, his loyal companion, ever talkative and eager. "So, Calydon," Iolaus said between mouthfuls of dried figs, "isn't that where the great boar was slain?" Hercules nodded. "Yes, but the stories don't end there. Something dark stirs again." A messenger from Calydon had come the night before, arriving breathless and bloodied. The once prosperous town was under siege, not by armies, but by shadows. People vanished in the night, crops withered without cause, and the temple of Artemis stood desecrated, its altar blackened by an unholy fire. As Hercules and Iolaus neared the village, an unnatural silence wrapped around them. Calydon looked like a place mourning its own soul. Doors were bolted, windows shuttered, and even the wind seemed too frightened to stir. They entered the village square, where a handful of grim-faced townsfolk had gathered, led by an elderly priest named Lycaon. His face was lined with worry, and the torchlight danced in his silver beard. "You came," Lycaon said, relief cracking through his voice. "Praise the gods." "I came," Hercules replied. "Tell me everything." Lycaon motioned toward the temple. "It began a fortnight ago. First, the beasts of the forest, ravens, wolves, they came down from the hills, silent and watching. Then the dream started. Terrible dreams. And one by one our people began to vanish. We found only traces, burned footprints, charred bones." Hercules stepped forward. "And the temple?" Lycaon's lips thinned. "Desecrated. Artemis no longer answers our prayers. We fear something ancient has awoken, something bound by oath, not death." Iolaus shuddered. "That's always a good sign." That night, Hercules stood watch on the temple steps. He sensed the shift in the air even before the flames erupted. A scream shattered the stillness, high and shrill, from the woods beyond the village. Hercules sprang into motion. In the forest, a clearing lay lit by ghostly fire. A woman, young, with golden hair and torn robes, stood encircled by flame, her eyes wide with terror. Around her, dark shapes twisted in the air, whispering in tongues too ancient for mortal minds. Hercules lunged through the fire, the heat blistering his skin. He grabbed the woman and shielded her with his body, smashing his club into the swirling darkness. There was a scream, not human, not beast, and the shadows dispersed like mist in sunlight. The woman sobbed against his chest. "They come for the blood," she whispered. "They want revenge for what was stolen." Back in the village, her name was revealed, Callista. Daughter of a Caledonian noble, she had fled the temple years ago after refusing to become a priestess of Artemis. Now she believed the curse was her fault. "I dreamt of her," she told Hercules as dawn broke. "Of Artemis. She wept black tears. She said I broke the vow." Lycaon grew pale. "The priestesses are bound for life. To abandon the temple is to betray the goddess. Artemis does not forget betrayal." Hercules frowned. "And who cast the fire upon the altar?" The priest hesitated. We did. In fear. We believed destroying the altar would stop the hauntings." "You burned a sacred altar?" Hercules said sharply. "You think fire breaks a god's wrath? You only fed it." That night, the shadows returned, stronger. They came, not just as whispers but as forms. One burst through the side of a barn, a creature half smoke, half clay, with claws like obsidian scythes. Hercules met it head-on, grappling it as Iolaus fought beside him. "Next time," Iolaus grunted, swinging a torch. "Let's pick a town cursed by, I don't know, drunken satyrs." Hercules forced the creature to the ground, driving his club through its core. It vanished in a wail of fire and ash. Lycaon approached, trembling. "They are spirits of the sacred grove," he whispered, "twisted by our sacrilege." Callista knelt near the ruins of the altar. "We must restore what was broken." Hercules nodded. "Then we begin now." The next morning, the entire village gathered at the temple. Hercules and Iolaus labored with them, rebuilding the altar stone by stone. Callista donned once again the robes of a priestess, her eyes clear with purpose. Lycaon began the rites of cleansing, chanting the sacred hymns under his breath. Then the ground trembled. From the hills, a monstrous form descended. A creature twice the height of any man, with the head of a stag and a body wrapped in flames. It was the spirit of the Caledonian boar, reborn in vengeance, summoned by the sins of the village. It bellowed, and fire scorched the earth. Villagers screamed and scattered. Iolaus tried to hold it back with a spear, but was swatted aside. Like a doll, Hercules grabbed a fallen shield, using it to deflect the beast's fiery breath as he closed the distance. "Your fight is with me," he roared. The battle was brutal. Hercules slammed his club into the beast's leg, snapping sinew. The creature retaliated with a charge that sent Hercules tumbling through a stone pillar. Dust and fire filled the air. Callista, bloodied and trembling, crawled to the altar. She lit the sacred flame with a trembling hand and began to chant. Lycaon joined her, voice rising with hers in a desperate invocation of Artemis. The flames surged skyward, blinding white. The boar paused. Its body shuddered. Hercules, seizing the moment, rose with a cry and drove his club into the creature's chest. There was a sound like 1,000 storms breaking. The boar exploded into light, leaving only scorched earth and silence behind. Callista collapsed. The altar pulsed with gentle radiance. The temple, once blackened, now gleamed with new life. Artemis had answered. Later, as the villagers repaired their homes and sang praises to the goddess, Iolaus sat nursing a bruised shoulder. "So," he said, "next time, maybe we visit a nice vineyard instead? Maybe one where the only curse is a hangover?" Hercules chuckled. "You say that now." Callista approached, robes flowing like moonlight. "Thank you, Hercules," she said softly, "for giving us a second chance." He looked toward the hills, where the sun now bathed the world in gold. "Redemption is always worth the road," he said, "no matter how cursed." And so, Hercules and Iolaus set forth once more, two men walking the thread between myth and mortality, seeking not glory, but justice, and lighting the world with every step they took.